Welcome back for the F1 League race here in the Rwagnation League around Silverstone in the greatest of Britons. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me on the caster's desk is the one and only Jess Games 95. How you doing?
I am doing good, you?
I am doing fabulous, thank you. It is Britain. I mean, how can you ever complain about driving around Britain? It's just such a great track in general. Anyway, and obviously we're going to be seeing tons of action non-stop. Ed Nick Turn is currently leading the driver's standings, which is great news to hear, as Zerd has sadly stepped out of the league, so he's going to assume that position for now. Although there has been a replacement for Zerd in the place of Steve. So we'll see. We know he's quite a quick driver anyway. We'll see what pace he can bring in. He won't be inheriting the points, so he's going to have to start from square one. But there's the track. That is the one that we're going to be racing around today. 18 turns in total, 3.6 miles worth of track to go on. C3, C2, and C1 are the tyres that are available to the drivers, obviously soft, medium, and hards, as that is the new layout going into it. Now, this is an area of the track that you're going to be looking for a lot of overtakes in towards Cop's Corner. It's a very difficult area to do it, but Dan and Beaker didn't have any issues when they tried to do it. In the ARS, as you can see, actually, that's a lie, because there was very much a lot of issues going through in the ERS. There's also Stowe with Yonti and Dan. Dan getting involved in a few situations, it seems. Inside line is the better one to take through this corner, and that's where you can see Yonti did that and secured that just about, but then gets a little bit of a bump and into the wall, and out of the session he ended up going. And now it's time for the qualifying. So, Jess, you've been here more than a few times.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of these drivers, some of which are new to the league fully. So, Racebug, obviously, you've seen him in the F2 cars a few times. But this is, I think, the first time we've seen him racing in the F1 cars. My question for you, though, is what's your top three prediction for the qualifying?
It's going to be a tough one, but I did see Racebug race in France when you and Amkasa were not here, so this is his second time racing. I think he was reserved for the first time, then the second time obviously he's full time, but I would have to say Yonti's been looking quick recently, but I am not gonna put him up for the win. I'm gonna put him P2. I'm gonna put Nick Turn P1, Yonti P2, and I'm gonna put Yawn P3. That's my prediction for tonight.
Okay. That's not a bad prediction by any stretch of the imagination. The one person I think you may have overlooked, though, is Martin G. He's a very, very, very fast driver,
Yeah.
but he said it in his own words. He's a podium or DNF kind of driver. He's someone who either does really well and gets on that podium step, no problem, or he has a rough race and ends up DNFing either through frustration or just through a genuine crash. Like if you remember Australia at the beginning of this season, Martin G lap one ended up DNFing the race because of a major crash they end up having with overspeed. It was a very, very severe crash, and it's no surprise that it did end up being a DNF for him. But I do feel like Miner G is going to be quick. Do I think he's going to be P1 quick? No, not today at least. I think you're right. I think Nick Turn is going to be the one carrying the pace. I think he's going to take P1. I mean, he's currently done provisional P1 here with a 126.4. Obviously, we're still seriously early in the session, so it's no surprise there that is the case. But Yonti is coming up to the line to finish a hot lap. And we're going to come around the final corner. Now, is this going to be faster? It's not. It's a 126.663. It's still very close. Only 2 and a bit tenths off of Nick Turn's time. And actually only 300ths of a second behind Mizzo.
Yes, 126 is already right off the bat. It's pretty good times for these drivers. We did see, if you were watching the F1 esports on Wednesday, some people going to the 125s. I don't think we might quite not match the esports times tonight, but we may see a few people try and get into the 125s, but not many people. So I think 126 is probably the benchmark, in particular because a lot of people are on the soft compounded tyres right now, as Pirelli always brings the 3 hardest compound of tyres to Silverstone, which means the hards won't be used very much unless they have a little bit of a shunt on lap 1.
Yeah, I mean, softs and mediums is probably going to be the strategy that drivers go for today, because the hard tire is just, it runs seriously long. You can almost do the entire race on the hard tire, but you lose so much pace. It's just not worth it. So we'll see whether or not they choose to go for the softs to mediums strategy. I think they will. I think the majority will, at least. But
Yeah.
Everybody is on track with soft compound tires except for Trap and Bird. Bird, I think this is his first time. I was wrong about Racebird. He said he raced in France, but I don't believe Bird has raced in the RNL yet.
No, I don't think Bird is racing at RNL. I've seen him race in other leagues, but not in RNL at all. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. He goes into the pits. I'm guessing he's had his lap time invalidated, or he just wanted to get a feel of the track in Silverstone and see what his limits are.
Someone who's found the limits and then broke them is Fossetti. Somehow, through the end of Beckett's, he's just lost the car and ended up off into the grass. Don't know if he's trying to carry his pace a little bit more than necessary, but he did end up losing the car, did find himself off into the grass. And sadly, this is going to be Fossetti's final race in the league because he said in his own words, he just feels as though he doesn't quite have the pace and isn't quite enjoying the game as much as he had done in the past. So he's in P18 in a minute, hasn't yet set a time. He's obviously there with other drivers. And now he's set a time. Obviously, it's a slow one due to his off. Whether or not he commits to this one or not, I mean, he's currently going for it. We'll have to wait and see.
It's not a representative lap time by any shape of the imagination, but you never know what he's like. It's a shame that he's leaving because he's done so well in some of the races we've seen in RNL, but I'm sure he's gonna hopefully do fine in his final race. Do us proud and make us a race to remember. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I mean, he loves this track, I'm told. He loves this track. It's a difficult track for him, but he does enjoy it. And I think that's the reason why he's chosen to do this final race, to really give it everything he can on his exit. I mean, you can see he's given it everything the way that he lost it on the last lap, but now he's going again. He's through Cop's Corner, no issues at all. Couldn't actually look any more sturdy if he liked, but he's now coming up to the area that he made a mistake in last time. I think the issue was he flicked it too hard through here. Lost the back end and then ended up over on the grass. Didn't catch any wall or anything, he just lost it. But this time, he keeps it sturdy. He's now 12.1 seconds up on his previous time, which still only puts him around about 1:31, but obviously he's still got the final sector to go because he wasn't delivering his fastest pace there, and he comes into the pits.
I'm guessing he doesn't have enough fuel to go on board, or maybe he may have cut the corner somewhere. I didn't see. He looked very committed to me. I think Yeltek is on the lap right now, but it's a 1:26.9 for him, so it's not a bad day for him. But he's been on those soft tyres for quite a bit now, so he's hoping that he's going to go on a lap in the future in about 3 or 4 minutes time on just one lap on the soft tyres, and then he should be fine, because otherwise he's going to be on the same degradation as pretty much everyone, so, or probably more degradation than everyone, I mean, so yeah.
So, the weatherman has been in touch and told us there's rain in 5 minutes. So it's about to get very damp suddenly.
I can tell because the clouds are very dark and it looks very overcast. And I don't know, I just have a sneaky suspicion that it was all going to be... It's the visibility is starting to get worse anyway. And not many people on the mediums. If it was fully dry in qualifying, I would expect a few people to go on the mediums first and then the softs. But since a lot of people are going on the softs already, that means they want to get a lap in quick and they have less time to get a lap in, which is a shame because usually we want people to get their lap in towards the end. But I'm guessing if they want to get their lap in, they want to get it in now, which is why a lot more people are out at this stage of qualifying. I like these sort of conditions where it gets wet towards the end of quali. Is it going to be wet in the race? I don't know, but at least we're getting some wetness. Typical Silverstone, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. British weather through and through. No surprise there. Mind G, though, he's the person I've got my eyes firmly locked onto. I really have high hopes for him to be able to get himself onto pole today. I mean, I didn't put him there at the beginning. I said it was going to finish at Nick and Martin G, and I think I said Yonti P3. I think if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, Martin G is coming through the final few corners now. There's the penultimate right here. This is the very last one. 1:26.484. Very marginally slower. And Nick Turn goes faster, but Mizzo, with a 1:26.193, sits provisional pole, and with rain coming on the way now, everyone who's on a lap right now is their only attempt to really beat this time. As you can see, the spots are starting to fall.
They are starting to fall. I can see a little bit in the cars, just not quite a lot. I think it's a bit of drizzle starting to come. Just Chilling and Vorsetti, I think, timed it a little bit too late there in terms of when the rain was going to come. But you never know. It is unpredictable on this game, and there might be people that have had enough. They might be happy with their lap time, so they're setting it pretty to make sure they don't push too much in the race. But one's like Mizzo and Nickton, they're looking so pretty at the top of the table. I think they're probably going to stay there if the conditions get worse, as, you know, I think a lot of people will be diving into the pits and getting their final laps in. And I wonder if Falsetti is going to improve on his lap time soon as well, because he's got to, because otherwise he's going to start from the back of the grid. And around Silverstone, it's crucial to get track position.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Falsetti at the minute trying his best to improve on his previous time. We saw that he was up quite considerably versus his last lap before, obviously because he didn't actually have enough this time. Now we are literally getting to probably the last attempt that he's going to be able to chuck onto the track today. Yolta's on his way out as well, trying to do a hot lap as well. He's done a 1:26.940. I just want to quickly divert your attention to the gap to leader.
Yes.
The top 14 drivers are all within just under 9/10 of a second. That is all it's going to celebrate, really, is just tons of action, tons of overtaking opportunities. And here he is now, coming up to the final chicane. This is the area he needs to get right. You can see the raindrops starting to properly fall now. The track will start to become a little bit undrivable in the dry tyre conditions. Him coming across the line does put in 1:27.4, but it's not enough to be able to go any further than P15.
So he's still close for the rest of the field, but I can see on Falsetti's car that the raindrops are coming. They are definitely coming, and I see raindrops right in the front of the car as well. So if they're not out now, and if they haven't set a lap now, they'll probably have to dive into the pits on what could have been. And I think Bird is falling victim of that because he hasn't set a lap time at all.
No, he hasn't. But we do have a potentially similar situation to what we saw in I think it was in Brazil last year with Leclerc when the track started to rain. He said no, one more lap, and then he ended up getting pole. Sorry, a really solid lap time that put him right up there. I don't think he got pole. I think he ended up getting like into the top 10, I believe it was, when he was driving for Alpha. It was a really, really solid lap time, and it was celebrated quite a lot based on just how much he managed to improve in that one lap. But Yolta out there at the minute, trying his best to do a similar sort of situation. P12 is where he sits with Beaker, also doing the same sort of thing. Interesting that we have a few cars on out laps. I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to actually improve. I mean, you can see there's already 4 drivers that have decided, no, it's not worth even trying now because it's just too wet.
Oh,
Yoltex
hit the breaker marker board, and he's gone into the grass as well. So I'm sure there's a sign that they need to go into the pits now. I can even hear the rain. It's starting to go really hard at the moment.
Yeah, it's coming down. Almost, not quite yet, getting to the point where we're in intermediate tyre conditions. The softs will now be so cold that it's going to be hard to really push at all, really. But they're definitely going to be going for it. Oh, that was close. Buemos is retired as well. Yeah, the track is just becoming a little bit too wet for anybody to try anything. But that's not stopping Beaker right now as he is going for it. Fuel on red.
Oh, yeah,
he's
made
lost
the same mistake as Yeltec did as well, and I think Rainbow's struggling too. Seeing if anyone else is on potentially. I think Martin G could potentially be on the lap, but I don't think he's going to improve either. So it's just getting too undrivable at the moment. Especially around this corner in turn 2 and 3. I don't know how you manage it in the wet with soft tyres. It's just literally impossible, but he seems to be going, yeah, he's going to retire the car. And he's whoa. And I think Jorn is probably going to do the same thing. He's probably going to retire the car soon as well. And interestingly, I think a lot of people are going on intermediates knowing that it's not going to be faster. Falsetti is one of them. He's fit the intermediates. I don't know why. Because I know he's not going to improve on the 1:27.4 on the inters. Surely he's going to be a 1:30, surely, on the inters. As Rainbow.
Yeah.
Rainbow's had enough, surely. I think Jorn's probably going to have enough too, because I think everyone's getting their brollies out. Surely Jorn is going to go into the pits now, thinking that No, he's got his DRS closed, so I'm guessing he's going into the pits then.
Now, Fossey might come out on the inters just to get a bit of wet practice, but I mean, it's only beneficial if there's actually going to be rain in the race, which I've not yet had confirmed. So I'm not sure, but Sloppy McFloppy's out there currently on, I can only assume an outlap because he has 97, 98 now % of ERS. And yeah, he's into the pits. He knows. That's it. GG, no re, because it's just far too damp. Blue's finding that out as well as he's trying to break into the corner. And yeah, he just can't carry the pace. You're losing so much time trying to just take this line. And he's already a minute on the track, and he's not even yet onto Sector 3. So, yeah, I think they're making a mistake. They're just going out to do it. Fossetti's out there now on the inters. And it wouldn't surprise me if he just does a lap and that's it.
Yeah, I'm guessing if he's on the inters, he might be that he thinks it's going to be rain in the race. I don't know, but we're not weathermen. We don't get weather information unlike our drivers. Only the drivers do, and the Jeffs don't either. They have to rely on their drivers to tell them the weather forecast. And if it doesn't rain in the race, I think Volsetti's going to probably find his time to race. But knowing him, I think he just wants to have a bit of fun anyway. He doesn't care. It's his last race. And he just wants to have fun for the sake of it. And that's the most important thing is... as we've got a car park around Stowe, we've got a Racing Point and we've got a Renault.
Oh, no!
What?
Fossetti, 5-place grid penalty for that contact between him and Yalta. That's heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking for his final race especially. I think we jinxed him there, sadly. As I think qualifying is now over as Mizzo's in the pits as well. And Fossetti is still going for it. He's the only one on track at the moment.
You know what? I wouldn't actually blame Fossetti if he decided to just park it, do a few donuts, and retire the car. Like, as a celebration for everything he's done for the RNL, and all the support he's... never mind, he just retired.
Oh,
but
well.
yeah, as a celebration for everything that Fossetti's done for the RNL and for everything he's done for the league and everything and the community, it'd be really nice to see him do a little donut or whatever, just to say thank you, I guess. And thank you for having me, thank you for being here. But yeah, he's retired. We're just waiting now for Mizzo. There we go.
There we go.
Mizzo retiring from the session. So that is the end of the qualifying. A little bit earlier than we anticipated, but mainly because obviously it's going to happen. If you have a dry start and it goes into a wet end of qualifying, you are going to finish a little bit early. But here is the rundown. Mizzo taking pole position, albeit barely by just over a tenth in front of it. Nick Turn. Copy there his teammate in P3, Martin G in P4, Yorn in P5, Wemmels P6, Yonti P7, Gooby P8, Sloppy P9. Blue rounds out the top 10 with Just Chillin' being best of the rest and in prime position for the best strategy. Yolta in 12th, Beaker 13th, Rainbow 14th, Fossetti 15th, Racebook 16th, Bird 17th, and Trap in 18th place. So, we've seen the qualifying. You saw how that all panned out. It was a really good sort of session to see what the drivers are capable of doing. We're about to see the conditions of the weather in just a second. I'm just quickly loading up
It's sunny, but not as... Well, it is sunny, but not very sunny, if that makes sense. It's dry weather at the moment, so I presume it's going to be... I don't know. We've seen races in F1 2019 where it's like this and then it goes to rain at the end. But I don't think it's going to be one of those races. But I am going to check the chat now, just to see what the weather is. But I don't think it's going to be raining, I don't think.
Well, I mean, it's British weather. Anything can happen, really, can't it? Even if it's all dry for the most part, you might see a little bit of rain touching the ground just to throw that little bit of extra spice. But we are now underway with the formation lap here in Britain in the Rwagnation League Season 3 for the F1 cars. Mizzo leads it, and it's a McLaren that rounds it out. So it's a big sandwich there for the McLaren. Very, very hungry indeed, it seems, for these two McLaren drivers. But Fossetti, we're going to go on board with him for the formation lap as a thank you for everything he's done for us over the past couple of seasons and the involvement he's had. He's made it very nerve-wracking, especially in the qualifying. He just scraped in last season. He just scrapes in this season. And he's sadly going to be leaving us after this Grand Prix.
He's on the medium tyres, so I'm guessing he wants to go on the alternate strategy as well. And He could do that. He could go adventurous and not worrying about gaining or losing position, because it doesn't matter, because he's going to be out of this afterwards. So he wants to try and get the best race possible, and he wants to have a bit of fun. So doing a last 2 challenge could be work out very well for him.
I think if you're in his shoes, you just take this race as a bit of a a bit of a relaxed session. You still go hard, you still give it the full beans, but he almost went the full beans into the back of trap. But yeah, you just give it have a laugh with it, enjoy yourself, and just give it a good result. It would be hilarious if he finishes this race in the best result he's had all season long. It just kind of show, because it wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of times where, even for myself, when I've been competing in some sort of like event or some sort of tournament or whatever, and I find myself applying that extra bit of pressure to myself, making mistakes, really wanting it, and then the time that I just relax, chill out, and enjoy myself is the time when I put in the best results. And ever since that point there was when I stopped worrying and stopped really applying all that pressure to myself and just gave it everything. And yeah, it's for the full beans. But here we go. Now, coming up now, Mizzo onto the home straight, putting his car back into the grid box. Everyone else is going to be doing the exact same. I need to ask you really quick, Jess. Top 3 predictions for the end of the race. Go.
Right, I'm going to say Nick Turn, Mizzo, and Yawn.
Okay, so I'm going to go Mizzo to win, and Nick Turn to finish P3 due to penalties, with Buemels taking second. Is my prediction.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say that as I agree with that. Your prediction. Yeah.
Well, here we go. It's time to see if we can get the 100% prediction bang on the nose here as the lights are on. And as soon as they get away, it's going to be the start of the British Grand Prix. Mizzo gets a beautiful start there. Copy's actually not that far behind him at all. Mizzo's going to go seriously defensive down in towards turn 1. Does end up running just a touch wide, but he's kept it all together. And I love the sight of that as all the cars just come flying around like a stampede as we come towards turn 3. Everybody's through fine. There's a corner cone penalty there for Bird. A little bit of a runoff wide there for him. Lots of shifting around. That's actually Yolta, I believe, who's actually lost control of the car. Gooby, sorry, who ended up getting onto the inside. No damage for his car. Gets in the front of Bird in the Red Bull. And now he sits down in P15. Fossetti climbs up to 14th place.
Very good start for Yolti, and also good start for Blue as well. But we've got Beaker trying to go around the outside of Blue into Luffield, and now going to Woodcote. And we've got the other Ferrari up ahead trying to get past Just Chin as well. It's going to be 3 wide going through Woodcote, even going into Cobb's Corner. This is not going to end well if they stay 3 wide, but I think luckily they managed to keep it together, surprisingly, which is good to see. Yonti taking advantage, he's staying ahead, and Sloppy is just backing out of it just a little bit. I think he realised he was a bit too ambitious and decided, oh my, he's gone off. He's gone off near the hanger straight, but I think he hasn't got any damage. I think he's all right, but that means I think he might be.
I think he might be desynced for you, because for me, he's currently sat P6, still chasing Yawn, and he's very much on the track. So sadly, you may have that problem for the race.
Oh God, I might have to look at the stream then.
Well, I'll keep you updated as we go. But as it stands, coming across the line is Mizzo P1, obviously setting the fastest time to go with it, and Nick Turn right on his backside there, going for an opportunity wherever he can in towards turn 3. Oh, lots of time gain there, almost went into the back of Mizzo, but no, manages to keep himself just outside of it. Buemels is just behind in P4, also trying to attack Copy as well. But it's a Nick Turn P2, Copy P3, Buemels P4, Yon P5, and Martin G sitting there in P6.
Good result from Martin G so far, as he's trying to capitalise on anyone's mistakes, as he's not that far behind Yawn either as well. So yeah, again, it's a shame I've got a desync issue, but what can you do? I think Volsetti has lost another position from the Haas of Racebug, as Racebug tries to go around the inside but couldn't make it work, as I think Volsetti is going to try and get the switch back, which he's going to. If someone says they can't overtake in Woodcote, they can, and that's what Racebug is trying to do, and he almost did it. I think Volsetti almost did it, but he's going to try through Maggots and Beckett's of all places, but I don't think it's going to work. I think he's just going to try and stay put for now, and maybe, as I think Racebug has broken a bit too late there, and I think, or made a bit of mistakes. I think Volsetti's going to try and go around the hanger straight now. He's going to try get around the outside of Volsetti at the moment, but I don't think he's going to do it. I think Volsetti is going to get the edge and overtake. Yes, he does. Great move from Volsetti.
Yeah, and then immediately Blue Rainbow just slips in between them. Just says, this is how you do it nice and quickly. Job's a good one. I'll slip in a P15. Falsetti with a beautiful overtake round the outside in towards Stowe, and the stewards have been in touch. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we have got live stewarding, and under investigation is the incident between Yonti and Gooby for turn 1, I believe it was. So that's sad news for that situation to be going on, but at the same time, exciting racing nonetheless. Buemos is still right there on the back of the Williams of Copy. You've got battles going on for P5 as Martin G is sizing up Yawn. And you got battle all the way down from there. So, but in fact, actually, he's actually just brought himself just within the 1 second margin. Yawn's just teetering on that limit. From P3 right the way down to P13.
Wow.
Everyone is within DRS range. And this lap, DRS got enabled. So now we're going to see who can defend like an absolute champ. But in terms of positions gained, Yoltek is the biggest winner with 5 places gained, and the biggest loser so far happens to be Gooby. That might have something to do with the turn 1 incident.
Yeah, I think so as well. Be interested to see what the stewards and Yoltek corner cutting massively there, and that's going to put Bird into contention. As Bird saying see you later, and he's gained another position up into 11th place. Bird doing ever so well in this race so far.
Yep, absolutely. So here is a little bit of a wobble there for Bird. Didn't quite turn in at the right time. Struggled. But, he did what he could to really push everything through. Yolta's on the back of a Bird here, trying to recover whatever he can get from this race. Well, I say recover. He's actually gained 5 places, so I need to hush my mouth. But Bird is driven like an absolute machine to be in the position he's in. 5 places gained for him as well. Blue's right there on the back of Yolta. Yolta's really sort of just sandwiched in between these 2 cars. He's not really going to be able to do much about it. Bird's not got DRS to defend with. He actually had a bit of a mistake trying to defend from Yolta, and that's just caused him to fall outside of the train just a touch. But someone who's not outside of the train is Martin G, looking for an inside line, and Yawn just comes across to try and protect himself. Came across quite gently, so it's nothing too surprising for Martin G to handle. It does mean that Yawn stays P5, and Martin G's going to have to do everything now to close up as Beaker's retired.
Don't know what happened there, but I know he had to pit due to a front wing change, but I think he was on the means for a little bit, and I think he might have just binned it somewhere or called it quits. I don't know, but yeah, he wasn't having a good race, to be honest, and I'm guessing he'd either just had enough or he's been in the car somewhere that I didn't see. But I did see a yellow flag before Beaker retired, so he must have had it off somewhere.
So Beaker retired through frustration because he went into the pits due to front wing damage, as you said, and the engineers didn't replace his wing, so he said, that's enough, I had enough, and has retired from the session. And whilst I was just talking there, Blue managed to get past Yolta beautifully, slipped through in Stowe, and he's now up in a P11. Not yet in the points positions, but there's just so many battles going on. Sloppy's on the back of Yonti. Yonti's on the back of Martin G. Martin G's trying to tackle Yawn, and he's still got race leaders battling as well. 4 tenths apart.
Yeah, this is insane. I always like Britain races because the most chances you're going to overtake is either through the Wellington Straight or other places, but there's a lot of people trying to do it in sports you would never expect, and that just makes for great, absolute, fantastic racing. And Martin G is going to have a go through the Wellington Straight now. He's got DRS, and he easily gets past Yawn there, and I think Yawn had no answer to that. And we also got the Ferrari catching up quite quickly as well, so Martin G up into 5th place. Falsetti going past Rainbow just then, up into P13, so changes are happening.
Oh, they've gone off. They've gone
no.
off severely. That was Rainbow and Falsetti. They've gone wide. I think Rainbow might have actually gone into the side of Falsetti that's caused that situation to begin. Falsetti had a really solid start, brought himself up in a P14, was battling with Rainbow to hold on to it. And yeah, he just falls apart a little bit as Martin G gets the first penalty for himself this race. 3 seconds to go onto his name. He's now under attack from Yawn and Sloppy. Sloppy did manage to get past Yonti earlier, I think it was through Luffield. And Yawn trying to carry the pace. Sloppy's trying to carry more pace. Actually had to back out there because he almost ran into the back of the Toro Rosso.
Yeah, he did. It was very close. It could have gone into a very massive shot, but luckily they're keeping it clean at the moment, which is what we want to see in the Rwagnation League. But Sloppy is looking very racy now as he goes into Abbey for turn 1. And there used to be a DRS zone here, but they removed it this year in 2019 because either there was too many or because it wasn't worth it or anything like that. So it makes it a lot harder to overtake in turn 1 than most other games.
Yeah. absolutely. DRS being enabled there again for Sloppy, but Jon just seemed to just slingshot out of that corner. You can see he's looking for an opportunity on Martin G. Martin G's trying to defend where he can. Jon's not really able to do anything about it because Martin G defended nicely, but Jon's got the inside, and same treatment has been returned to Jon. Martin G comes back across the line nice and gently, shows him that he's going to block the door on him, and Jon can't do anything about it other than just ride into his slipstream and do everything he can to charge his ERS back up again and see if he can go for an overtake on the hanger straight.
Yeah, I think that's where most people do it at the moment, actually, just to try and play it safe, don't cause too many incidents, and then save as much ERS as you can to try and do that. But Jon, he hasn't got as much ERS to play with unless Sloppy can do about it, because Sloppy's got more ERS, so if he can try and save as much as possible, he's going to catch up to Jon anytime soon. And I don't think he's saving much because he is trying to battle on Martin G quite a bit as well, so I think that is where ERS tactics can really come into fruition here.
Yep, more than likely. Something that's actually taken me a little bit by surprise. Oh, Yalta getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not good news for him. How many times does he pit now? That's his first. But it's his first pit stop penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And I'm just taking a look at Martin G because there's a suspicion that he might have wing damage on the left front. Now I'm trying to get a good camera angle to see that, but currently it looks as though he's all right. I don't think he does. No, he doesn't.
It might be just his end plate.
No, his end plate is fine. He's got everything together. His entire wing is intact. So I don't know.
It might just be that he's struggling on the tyres. Don't forget, I think it gets to this point of the race where I think the mediums are starting to come into fruition more than the softs, I think. So I think we'll get to see the medium runners are just chilling and Falsetti starting to come into action here. But there's not many medium runners in this race so far. But to be honest, it's not really down to how long you can push those tyres. It's down to the setup. As I think Bird has pointed out, he just got past Yonti nicely there. Throw Beckett's as well out of all places. I don't know how he did it, but he did that very well. He's on a charge and he's making a very good debut to this league, and he could soon be catching up to Sloppy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sloppy's doing his best to close onto the back of Jon. It's not really sort of gap changing in any way, shape or form. Has there been an off somewhere down the back? Oh, yeah, it was Yalta. He's lost it at the rear end, it looks like. He's not got any wing damage, still okay. Tyres are cold, I think that was mainly the problem. And Jon's in the pits. So Jon, the first one of the top 10 to pit and blink, if you like. He's obviously, the problem with this pit lane is it's so slow. It's the one thing about being British, you know, we are very health and safety conscious, and
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, there was just a visual glitch on my side. It looked like his pit crew weren't ready, but they are indeed ready, and he's very quickly in and out, and off he goes again. Still in P14 as it stands. Yalta is nowhere to be able to intervene on that situation. So now Jon, yes, he's dropped all the way down to P14. Ultimately, though, he might have actually got a beautiful move if the undertake is successful.
Yeah, and sometimes the undercut can be powerful. It does depend if the guys in front of you get a good in-lap or get a bad in-lap, and or you might come across some traffic, and that is what Jon is hoping not to happen. And he's going to be on fresher tyres compared to his counterparts who are on the old softs, and the softs will start to come out of place around about now. So between lap 8 and lap 12 is where we'll see a majority of the guys pit. So these guys will probably need to start to push, but they need to start conserving a little bit more in terms of their tyre wear, as Nick Turn is the first leading bunch to go into the pits then, so he wants to try and get the undercut.
Yep, and Yonti's in as well. Now, speaking of Yonti, there has been a message from the stewards regarding the incident at turn 1 between Gooby and Yonti. Yonti has been issued a 5-second time penalty that will be added to the end of his race as a result of the contact between him and Gooby that we saw earlier. So, big sad news for him.
Yeah, well, I didn't really see what happened from my perspective anyway, but you don't want a 5-second penalty added to you. It's just going to add burden to the rest of the race, but you just got to keep your head focused, forget about what happened, and focus on the rest of the race, because you never know, he could gain an extra 5 seconds that he needs when he pushes, and the position won't affect him. So I think that's what he needs to focus on.
Yeah, indeed. So Jon obviously up now into P13, manages to get the move on Yonti. Still sorted, still P13, still on the back of Sloppy though. Sloppy's obviously pit and managed to come out actually ahead of Jon. So Jon didn't actually work out too well, but he's going for the inside line here. This is an opportunity to be in a little bit of contact between the two. That's actually caused Jon's car to rotate, but he caught it. Beautiful move there. That's actually given Yonti the opportunity to slip down the inside, and Jon getting a little bit too big for his boots there. Tries to move in a very difficult area to attack, and in fact does end up losing that position, and is down now into P14. Mizzo, race leader, is in the pits.
Where would he come out in terms of Nick Turn? We'll have to wait and see. Like we said, the pit lane is very long, so I think Nick Turn really needs to push. He needs to get past traffic, which he's going to. Racebug easy lets past Nick Turn, which is, I think, crucial at this stage. If you want different tyre strategy, you don't want to be racing each other, because otherwise you're going to end up holding each other up, and that's going to cost the race leader of all places. As we got a yellow flag in sector 2, and it's Yeltek again, who spun, I think, in just past Cop's corner. Yes, it was. But let's not concentrate on that. Let's concentrate on Nick Turn. Is he going to be ahead of Mizzo? Ooh, I'm just seeing Mizzo. Yeah, just about by literally, I think, 5/10. Actually, not even that. I think it's about 5/10. I was right.
Yep, yeah, they nailed it. Yep.
Yeah. So
the one thing that was interesting is Sloppy managed to do the overcut perfectly. Mizzo failed the overcut and ends up losing race lead as a result. The one thing that is going good for him is because Nixon was all over him for a lot of the race up until now, is that Nixon was struggling throughout almost the entire time to attack. He couldn't actually pass him physically on the track. He just didn't have the pace. Even with DRS, he just couldn't do it. Whereas Mizzo seems to be much faster overall, in a position where he can attack at Nixon pretty easily now, and I think we might be seeing the net race lead change again back to being Mizzo.
Yep, he's looking very faster at the moment, and him being on fresher tyres is going to put a huge advantage. So maybe Nick Turn getting hold up in traffic a little bit might have costed him some time, and if he would have been a bit more ahead if he wasn't got hold up in traffic. But that's one of these things on this game. I think you've got something you've got to take into consideration, and Mizzo's going to fight every ounce of his being to try and get past him, and it's not going to be very easy, but knowing him, he's hungry for it. He's got some very good results this season, and he's looking to be consistent. As Martin G and Blue also in the pits, and they're also going for a set of the medium compounded tyres.
Yep, indeed. So Nick Turn still holding on to net race lead. There's Falsetti ahead of him. That's Mizzo's teammate. They might be doing a little bit of team odyssey here. Falsetti's trying to hold at Nick Turn back, and technically he can. He's not blue flagged by any stretch of the imagination. This is purely being wingman time now. Has Falsetti got everything he needs? You can see the effort he's putting in there to try and throw at Nick Turn off, and he does. But now he's actually kind of in the way for his teammate. Moves out of the way to lane through. Falsetti's lost it. But that's the sacrifice he made to give his teammate the opportunity that he's got right now. Just under 4 tenths is the gap between him and Nick Turn. The gap will only get smaller and smaller as they come towards Magus and Beckers, because of the fact that the slipstream is still so strong, because of the way that Cop's Corner works, it will allow him to do that. And now, this is the area for attack. Mizzo needs to execute Maggots and Beckers perfectly, and he has. You can see it, Nick Turn struggled so much through there. Now he's going to not move into overtake. I thought he was going to absolutely go for it there, but no, he's happy just sitting on the back of it, Nick Turn, and just relaxing.
Yeah, I think he wants to put a bit more pressure going towards further into the races. Nick Turn really struggled there past Stoden, and I think Mizzo is going to wait for Nick Turn to make a mistake. But if he does that, Ramos might come into play as well. He's 3 seconds behind Mizzo, and on this game, if you battle a lot with like say the likes of Nick Turn, and you got someone at a similar pace than you, it's going to cost you. If we got Mizzo and VSR Berg going for a position, Falsetti, no, not Mizzo, Falsetti, my bad. I'm getting mixed up with McLaren's. But looks like Falsetti is still going for it, even though he's on a different strategy. But again, he's got nothing to lose, but he's got to be careful not to ruin everyone else's races, because everyone else is not going to be a happy bunny, and it's not going to be a way to end his RNL career if he gets penalties.
In fairness to him, though, he has done a really good job of slowing the cars down without actually getting himself into any sort of trouble. All he's done is just basically fought everybody that's come up to him. And it cost him earlier when he was battling with that Nickturn and tried to get out of the way of Mizzo. He literally jumped out of the way, so much in fact, they actually ended up running off the track. I mean, Mizzo, again, in a situation now where he can attack if he wants to. He's gone for mode 2 this time, but I don't think he's going to be going to. Rainbow has been given a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
He's gone to
and
0.
Retired.
He's backed out, he's gone to 0. So,
yep.
So I don't think he's going to have a go yet. I've seen Nickturn making the same mistake going into Stowe, so I wonder if he's just taking that line every time, or maybe he's just struggling on that corner. Potentially.
I mean, Mizzo has been a lot faster than Nickturn in pretty much the entire race. He's at a position now, and I think the only sort of game plan I can think of for Mizzo is that he's just trying to just sit on the back of a Nickturn, burn Nickturn's ERS into the dirt. I mean, as it stands, it's 43%. He's more than double his ERS right now. He's still trying to work out, and the good thing is that the race engineers will be able to see all the information that they need to about Nickturn's situation and how much he's struggling to sort of pull away from Mizzo and break the DRS line. Mizzo was getting the same treatment last time on the first inner tyres. It was Mizzo leading and a Nickturn chasing, trying to break him down and break his ERS levels. Mizzo managed to manage it better, and as right now you can see it's not actually far off being full bar of ERS.
Yeah, which is I think pretty good. I think knowing him, he wants to conserve a bit, and then when he gets to the final few laps, Nickturn won't have any room to respond, and I think that is crucial. I think on the final laps, I feel it's best around Britain to be the chasing car instead of the leading car, because you have more of a chance to get an overtake and more of a chance to attack. And if you are on the receiving end and if you are leading, you've got to be on the defence, and if you struggle like what Nickturn has just done, it's going to put you in really bad stead. And if Mizzo was really pushing on that lap, he probably would have got the move done anyway, but I guess he doesn't want to take too much risks at the moment.
No, indeed. But we've had a penalty update given to us, so here it is. If you don't hear their names, they don't have penalties. From top to bottom, Bird has 3 seconds of time penalties. Borsetti has 3 seconds of time penalties. Martin G has 6 seconds of time penalties. Blue has 3. Gooby has 3. And Racebug has 3. Yawn, however, has just got 1 as well. 3.
So if you didn't hear, then that means no one else has got a penalty, and Borsetti's really going for it, and I think Yawn must be struggling to try and get past. I think what Borsetti's doing is he's definitely playing wingman and trying to held up the rest of the field to try to make sure that no one try and catch up to Mizzo, because why else wouldn't be doing it? Obviously because it's his last race, but it's a team game at the end of the day. If you want to be helping your team around here, that's the race to do it. And Borsetti wants to leave the team on a good note, and I think at the moment he's just playing a team game rather than himself at the moment.
Yeah, no, 100%. And there's a similar sort of situation could be said earlier on when he was doing the battle about holding that Nickturn back. Now, though, you got Bird sort of really close to the back of Sloppy. DRS is enabled, but he's sat in mode 0, so he's not, again, same situation as like what Mizzo and Nickturn were doing, not really trying to attack each other, although Borsetti is fighting Martin G. Martin G just slid on past him with no issues, aside from the 6 seconds of penalties that he's got. Borsetti running a little bit wide there, nothing to worry about, no penalties, no warnings. But it won't be the best line through there. Sloppy's got penalty. That's not good news. I saw
someone else got one as well, but I didn't see who it was.
I wonder if it was Bird, because it's usually that you'll find they tend to follow. But there was almost contact between Bird and Sloppy actually there through that braking section. Sloppy's still ahead just about. Bird might actually go for the attack here. This is an opportunity to do it. Oh, that's a wobble. That's not going to be an attack now. He's got into mode 4 to try and help bring himself closer, but that's all it is bringing himself close, hold onto the back of the Ferrari, burn his ERS down into the dirt, and you can see the difference. 27% after the braking zone coming through that long straight, and you got 65% on Bird. Almost triple and more, actually, for Bird on the ERS. He's got a yellow fuel warning light, but ultimately that doesn't mean anything because you can just sit in lean, sit in slipstream, and DRS his way to the end of the race.
Meanwhile, whilst those battles are happening, Martin G was really going for it over Yawn, trying to defend on Yawn, going into the start of the opening sector, and then going onto the Wellington straight, doing absolutely well to try and cover that. And I just checked who got the penalty before Sloppy, and it was Bird. So Bird has got another 3 seconds added to his time. So very unfortunate. But he's got past Sloppy into Stowe. Just about. It was very close. So he really needs to pick up the pace a little bit to make sure he gets out of the way and starts pulling away. But Sloppy is going for it.
Oh, Bird's making mistakes, and that's allowed Sloppy to just slip on down the inside. It's also allowed Yonti to just capitalise on that altogether and just go straight through. That. 2 places gained in 1 corner. Yonti with a miracle overtake now up in a P6. Bird's actually capitalised as well on the Sloppy's mistake, and that's caused him there. Fawcett's in the pits 15 laps after he started the race on mediums. Will now be able to go to the softs and take it to the end of the Grand Prix. Just whether or not he's going to be able to close up and make any passes, given the fact of how much he was struggling earlier when everybody else was pitting. But he will be able to chuck it in and potentially close some gaps down. Bird still on the back of Yonti. Sloppy's still trying to attack him back here. And ultimately, the gap really between Mizzo and Nickton hasn't really changed. Mizzo is very happy doing what he's doing. And at Nickton, yes, he's at 25% ERS. And Mizzo could attack at any opportunity. But he's just happy doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I think so as well. And if he wants to save as much ERS as possible to the end and keep up the pace on his lap times, he could be a threat towards the end. And as you would expect, Just Chillin' is going into the pits. I was expecting people to go into the pits around about now. For the set of the soft tyres, the pit window roughly about between lap 16 to 20 is what you would expect. And that's what Just Chillin' has just done. He's got a fresh set of rubber. It'll be interesting to see where he comes up and see if he can get past ones who have been on older mediums compared to fresher softs.
Just Chillin' has done a really good job to maintain the pace that he's had throughout the majority of this Grand Prix. Will come out of the pits and sort of end up around P9, maybe even P10. He's come out P9. I think he's actually really close to Jorn, actually. Yeah, they're side by side. This is a little scrappers going on here, and Jorn will not back out of this. He's got the inside line for this corner. Justin's going to have to give him a sufficient amount of space. Jorn took that corner a lot tighter than he necessarily had to, and that meant then that Just Chillin' gets a much better line out of it, and Jorn does not get DRS.
I was not expecting that at all from Jorn. I thought he was going to do it, but Just Chillin', I'm guessing he's hungry for a good points finish, and if he keeps his up, he's going to be on for a good whole of points doing the alternate strategy. And that's why I chose doing the alternate strategy when I was racing on Thursday, because I felt it was faster. And there was one race where I saw a medium to soft strategy win the race, so it's not going to happen here, but it might happen that people on the medium to soft strategy might score better than the ones on the mediums currently at the moment. And Just Chillin' really wants to try and do that. He's got the pace to do it, but can he catch up to the one that you were hoping they're going to do well, Martin G?
Yeah, Martin G's had a nightmare of a race, but someone who's not really having a nightmare of a race is Bird. He's right there on the back of Yonti. Remember, Yonti has that 5-second penalty that will be applied at the end of the race. He's going to lose a fair bit of positions as it stands. So Yonti has to absolutely gun it in order to try and secure himself where he is right now. P5 is a great result if he was able to stay there, but due to that penalty, he's not going to be able to, and he's not actually that far away from Copy, who's really close to the back of Buemos, and that's a battle for the final step of the podium, which I think we're about to see that unfold as we progress throughout this race. Honestly, I am thinking that Just Chillin' is in a really good position right now. P9, soft tires, brand spanking new, he's only gonna have to do around about 9 laps on them, and he's only a second behind Martin G on a track where he can easily overtake. Just Chillin' has got a really, I think he's gonna get P5.
It's a win-win situation for Just Chillin', and he's gonna gain left, right, and centre. And I just got a bit confused there because he's on the mediums on my screen, but I think that's a visual glitch there. But hopefully it's all right on the stream. But on my screen, it's saying he's on the mediums, but he's not. He's on the softs, so that's all right. Because otherwise, it'll be very confusing. But
yeah, yeah. No, I see his car shows that he's got medium tires on, but it's whatever the graphic says is whatever he's actually using. For me, it's showing a soft as Buemos and Copy losing places. Copy managed to just get a really good move on the inside in towards Stowe. That's now brought him up into the final podium position. Buemos has been holding him back for quite a while, and interestingly, they both have a huge amount of ERS. They've been scrapping for a fair few laps, and neither driver's really been able to capitalize on it. And it's surprising because they're actually running at such a slow pace that Yonti's been able to just break into the DRS line. There was the detection line. I don't know if he managed to get DRS ready for this mid-straight, but look at the gap that's just falling apart there. Yonti will actually pass both of these drivers, and if he's really lucky, might even build up enough of a gap to be able to pull away 3 seconds, I think it was. Oh no, 5 seconds, sorry. That was his penalty. It's going to be applied at the end of the race, that's it.
Yeah, he's got to really. He's got to get past Brambles and Copy to make sure he doesn't lose as much positions because Bird is right behind him as well. But seeing that he managed to get past people that were making mistakes earlier, he's a person that can do it, that has waited for opportunity to go past them and make it work. And he's on older tyres compared to the other people in front of him. So it's going to be a tough challenge, I think, for Yonti. But we'll see what happens and see what he can do.
Honestly, Mizzo is blowing my mind a little bit. I don't know why he's not gone for the overtake yet. I mean, Nick Tenn's found a way to keep his ERS levels at around about like the mid-20s, high 20s, in order to defend enough from Mizzo. Mizzo's got so much ERS that he could literally hit hot lap mode and just go for it for the remainder of the lap. Not only would he overtake at Nick Tenn, he would also be able to use that to pull away a gap as well and break the DRS zone. The only issue you're going to have is if that fails and you don't quite get the gap enough, you are going to be under attack and you're not going to have a great deal of ERS to use to defend with. But, you know, it's a risk-reward situation. Yes, it's a high risk, but if you do it, it's a high reward. You had the pace in the first stint on the softs. You've still got the pace clearly on the mediums to be able to deliver a pace where you can get away from him. And I think that Mizzo's actually holding himself back. And bear in mind, there's still points to be awarded for fastest lap. And currently, that sits with Rainbow, who's no longer racing. So 1:29.241 was the fastest lap time. Mizzo's current is a 1:30.193.
Ah, so...
oh, Gooby.
Gooby's out. What's happened there?
Where is that?
I don't know. Sector 1 and Sector 2 yellow flags? It must be through Sector 1 because Racebug is ahead, well behind him. Or it might be actually the start of Sector 2. His car's gone. Where is it? I couldn't see it.
It's on the... So if you're going by a trap, it's just there. So it's the bit before the mid-straight. So the corner there, I think he just lost the rear a little bit, sent himself way off, and then ended up over it towards the wall. Here we go, though. So it's still ongoing. 6 laps to go. Mizzo still chasing at Nick Tenn, still not pushing it to the limit. And yeah, interesting.
Yeah, very interesting actually. Intriguing, but I think that makes it the 4th retirement of the session, which is not where you want to be at any stretch of the imagination.
Not at all. So, oh, Bird and Sloppy are having a good old scrap. A little bit of a moment going on between the two there. Bird's still leading there. He does have DRS as well from the car ahead, but he's going to have lost a lot of time there, which is not... He doesn't have DRS, pardon my tongue, as here comes Sloppy for a move. That's Bird trying to squeeze him to the inside as much as possible. Sloppy's managed to just secure it, but locks up a little bit. That gives Bird the run through the outside, runs too far wide. And yes, Sloppy's run too wide on this corner, but because of that, he gets a much better line through it, and the overtake has been completed. Sloppy now up into P6. Bird slowly but surely is falling down the grid.
Yeah, which is not where you want to be right now, but he is hungry for it. He's probably not the best position now to go for a move because he's right behind. He just doesn't want to lose too much pace because otherwise his hard work that he has built throughout the race is pretty much gone.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, you can see Sloppy under attack again from Bird. There's the DRS and the slipstream coming into play. He is going to take the line through fine. No issues at all. Beautiful overtake from him now. And I think these are going to be going toe-to-toe. They have pretty much been going toe-to-toe pretty much the entire race. Now it's the same situation, but on medium compound tyres and actually giving it the full beans. Sloppy again, sizing Bird up. And they have driven so cleanly throughout. The overtakes that they've taken, I've not seen them actually touch each other once. But they're in a position where they can hold each other back. I'm excited to see as we come into the closing stages, 4 laps remaining, who's going to capitalise. I did miss... And Nick Tenn's actually lost race lead and fallen apart. So Mizzo must have listened and just took off.
I think we weren't paying attention there because there was so much going on towards the middle of Bird and Sloppy there. So yeah, I think Mizzo definitely did listen, save his ERS, and he's able to save a lot more now that he's in front, and he could just concentrate on pulling away to Nickton to make sure he inherits that race win.
Indeed, Blemmels though not far away from the man in P3 because it's currently Williams 2-3, and Nickton has not had any penalties. Interestingly, that's actually been probably his strong suit because he's been so weak in that area for a little while where he's been getting penalties and penalties and penalties, and it's caused him to lose podium positions as a result of it. He's currently sat P2, 2 seconds away from Mizzo, and I don't think that's going to be changing unless he somehow managed to find a lot of pace in the final few laps. Bird and Sloppy still going toe-to-toe, and he's gone down the inside in towards Stowe. He's managed to get the position. That is P6 back again in the hands of Bird. Sloppy there in P7. Just Chilling, bear in mind, is on soft tyres and is absolutely flying.
Wow, he is flying. He's in 8th place at the moment, and he's already catching up to the leading bunch of Sloppy and Bird. So I'm interested to find out what's going to happen with them. If these two start battling, Just Chilling can start to really put the pressure on these guys and go towards the end there, as he's gaining so many attempts per lap. Sloppy and Bird must be worried here, as they're going side by side, going to the Wellington straight now, and I think Sloppy manages to hold on and defend, but I think Bird is going to go for the cut and switch back, but unfortunately he has to force himself to 7th place. And Sloppy there, the commitment he did to defend that from Bird after he tried to do the switchback was incredible. So at the moment, Sloppy gets P6 from Bird, but Just Chilling is not that far behind Bird. Can Just Chilling get past Bird with 3 laps to go?
I think it's a definite, absolutely. You wait till you get to the hangar straight. He's almost within DRS range. In fact, he is now within that DRS range. And speaking of, Blemmels is well within DRS range of Copy. Slipstream is being utilised right now. As you can see, he almost went for the inside line. Actually backed out quite severely there. Really hard on the brakes. And that's brought Yonti right into this mix. Sloppy and Bird scrapping once more. Sloppy's looking for an opportunity on Bird again. They're going to go for it. He's going to take the outside line through the final chicane. But that means Bird is trying to defend tightly to the inside on both corners. And he does. Sloppy just kind of backed out a little bit too early, but it's giving Just Chilling the opportunity to attack. Now, penalty update for you. Sloppy and Bird both have penalties, but Bird has 6 seconds, Sloppy has 3, which means that Just Chilling, who's going to go for a move down the inside here on Sloppy, this is a beautiful attempt for an overtake here. He's going to be on the outside for the next corner, but if he can hold the pace, which he's done, he is absolutely going to take off now. Hunting for Bird, DRS wing wide open. Just Chilling will be loving this race. Also bearing in mind, Yonti ahead has 5 seconds of penalties that are going to be applied. He's just under that limit, 4.9 as it stands. Just Chilling does not have any penalties of any kind, so he's absolutely loving life at the minute. Blemmels, who's still tangling with Copy, is also worried about the Yonti behind him, who's just slowly but surely bringing himself closer and closer for the gap. This is getting tense. 2 laps to go.
I like this sort of tense battle with 2 laps to go, even if it's for the race win or if it was for a podium or even for any position. And if it was the driver of the day right now, I'll have to be Just Chilling as someone who would go on the medium to soft strategy. For some people, the pressure will get too much for him, but Just Chilling, he's taking the pressure in both hands and staying ahead of these guys and potentially going to catch up to Yonti too. Getting in that, or he's already under that 5-second window, so a potential P5 for him will be on the cards, and Martin G's going to have a slice of the party on Bird right now. He's gone a bit wide off the corner. Looks like Bird, I think he's P7 for now, but look at this ball, Sloppy. I think Martin G, either I don't know who touched each other, but I know there was contact somewhere, but that was a missed chance, I think, from both of them to try and pass Bird, but unfortunately couldn't quite work out. I think Bird is going to breathe a sigh of relief just about, but they're still going at it again. So this is a penultimate lap. Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And Martin G, it looked like he just got caught out by Sloppy. I don't think he expected Sloppy to just slide down the inside there, and he did. He absolutely went for it, and it worked out for him. Oh, he almost gets caught out again there, did Martin G, but no. P7, P8, and P9 is currently Bird, Sloppy, and Martin G. All of them have penalties. The worst of them is Martin G. He has 9 seconds of penalties, with Yawn looming in behind him. 8.4 is the gap between him and Yawn. Oh, he's just slipped through the inside in towards Cop's corner. Martin G makes a beautiful overtake there on Sloppy and is already bringing himself closer to the back of Bird. We're getting to that straight point now. The hanger straight is an opportunity for him to get the move done on Bird and just fly away. But we haven't got enough time for him to build up 3 seconds of penalties. He needs, 3 seconds gap to Bird to cover the penalty. It does mean, though, that he's going to have to find a way to make Bird make a mistake without actually contacting him, and he's looking for the inside line, and that would have been the one. If Bird had run wide and actually got that penalty added to his time as well, Martin G would have matched him, and then he only has to pass him physically on the track in order to gain that position.
Meanwhile, someone that's doing very well up front is Bremmel's trying to catch up to Copy, and Yonti's trying to put the pressure on him as well, but Martin G and Bird are going at it once again, and I think Martin G has position on Bird, and yep, that's it, and Bird's going to go again into turn 2. Could this be an overtake? No, Martin G, I think, just closes the door on Bird there, and I think that is position there for Martin G, but is Bird going to have the DRS? Yes, he is. He's going to have another challenge going towards the Wellington straight into almost the start of sector 2. Not much space left there, but I feel... Wow,
Martin G just blew down the inside. He sold the dummy, pushed Bird over to the inside, which meant Bird had nowhere else to go other than run wide. Martin G immediately swings back over to the outside and then just slams it down the inside, and nothing that Bird could do about it. He just had to just sit there and wait, and Martin G takes P7 from himself. That was insane.
I think the whole chat would agree with us by saying that Martin G's move was amazing. So, well done to Martin G. If you agree with that, put some raggasms in the chat. But anyway, we're on to the penultimate few corners. Mizzo's drove absolutely great today. He's going to come across the line. He's going to take the win here at RNL for the British Grand Prix. But we still have Bird and Martin G going and fighting to the line. Go, oh! Bird's made a mistake. Oh, and Bird's
out. He's retired from the race. There was contact between the two. Bird ran wide, lost the car, and ended up going into Martin G. And that's took Bird out of the race completely. Martin G gets sent off the track. He's falling down the order as a result of the contact. He's obviously deflated after that contact. And that was just insane. That was crazy.
It was looking to be a very close battle towards the end, but I think, and I think Martin G is not happy whatsoever. I think he's waiting for Bird to go past, but I don't think Martin G knows that Bird has retired. I think Martin G knows it's probably his fault, I think, by the looks of things. But
I'm not sure. It looked like more like Bird made the mistake, but I really don't know. I didn't see enough. It's up to the stewards,
not us.
Yeah, it's down to the stewards to work out. I mean, I would not like to be in that room. That was a very difficult battle to go on. So close all the way to the end, but that now, as Trap crosses the line, is the end of the British Grand Prix here in the Rwagnation League. That was insane. So good to watch. Mizzo gets his first win in the Rwagnation League he's ever had in his career. And there he is on the top step. A very well-deserved champagne spray out in a second for you with the music, as always. Hoisting the trophy high, 25 points in his pocket. Don't think he got fastest lap, but a very well-deserved race win nonetheless. There's the champagne spray out that he deserves. And interestingly, it is a solid 2-3 there for Williams. It's a shame that can't replicate there in real life, but you can't take anything away from it. Nickturn and Copy, they did everything that was needed. They secured it, and Copy's now found a way to bring himself all the way home. And it's great to see that the podium actually stayed true from qualifying. 1, 2, 3, Mizzo and Nickturn Copy. It's exceptional stuff. Wemmels comes across the line and takes P4. Yonti takes P5. Just Chillin takes P6. Sloppy taking P7. Yon takes 8th. Blue takes 9th. Martin G, due to the contact he had with Bird, takes 10th. Racebook is the best of the rest in 11th. Falsetti in his final Grand Prix takes 12th. Trap takes 13th. And then your DNFs were Bird, Gooby, Rainbow, Yolta, and Beaker. Wow, what a race that was. Final question for you, though. Who's your driver of the day?
Easy decision for me. After starting 11th on the grid and making the medium to soft strategy work, it's got to be Just Chillin'.
Yep, absolutely. No doubt about it. Just Chillin' deserved that from the beginning. Really perfectly driven. Strategy was absolutely exceptional. Didn't have any penalties of any kind. Yeah, Just Chillin', driver of the day. So that's it for the Rwagnation League. Thank you everybody who tuned in. We are going to be transitioning over to open lobbies in just a few minutes, so stick around, don't go anywhere. We're about to get really exciting times going on. But yeah, what a Grand Prix that was. Right, now, fingers crossed that it doesn't